Freedom to Rock Tour coming to the La Crosse Center this Saturday, the 6th. Tickets are still available. I have Paul Stanley on the line with me. Paul, I just got to say, it's a huge honor to have a chance to talk with you. Kiss has been my favorite band ever since I can remember.
Well, thanks. It means a lot, and honestly, I think that sentiment is shared by a lot of people, and it's because it means that much to us. I want us to be the band that I never saw, and I want to be the band that lives up to everybody else's expectations. I'm not only in the band, I'm a big fan of the band, so I always want the band to live up to what I hope it would be.
You know, I'm 47 years old, and I have a hard time rocking and rolling all night and partying every day. How do you guys keep it up after 43 years in the band?
It's amazing gratitude. It's a sense of obligation, commitment. All those words may sound a bit corny, but truly, the people who have made us what we are not only deserve to get it, but it's my pleasure. It's like, how could you win the lottery and complain about the taxes? I'm blessed, and every time I step out on that stage, I know I'm blessed. It's never a chore. It's always an honor. I look out there, and the only night that matters is the night for those people. In other words, last night doesn't matter, tomorrow night doesn't matter. The people at the show tonight are the only ones who count, and I want to be everything they expect.
Paul Stanley from the greatest band in the world, Kiss, joining me joining me here on today's talk and 100.1 Classic Rock. So it's got to be a dream. You got to pinch yourself every day. I've been kind of reading through the book Nothing to Lose, the interview book, the makings of Kiss. And it's kind of cool to see some of the old school things that are in there, like the old ads to the first times that you guys played, to some of the pictures of you guys back when you were first starting off. How did you decide to start wearing makeup?
It was a natural progression. It was a natural step. In a sense, we wanted to be the band we never saw, and we certainly were surrounded by a time where there were a lot of great bands, and some of them reached certainly my expectations, but not a lot of them. Some bands looked great and didn't sound terrific, and some sounded terrific and didn't look great. And there was always a sense I got from a lot of the performers that they thought they were doing the audience a favor, and that's crazy. So really, we just wanted to take things a step further. I was lucky enough as a kid to see Jimi Hendrix for a small crowd, Zeppelin for a small crowd, Humble Pie, Derek and the Dominoes, the Temptations, Otis Redding. I saw a really diverse cross-section of groups, and Kiss was really the next step. At the time that we came out, what we were supposedly a part of was dying off, and people thought it was over. And the music that was all over the radio was kind of soft acoustic rock and stuff that was pretty toothless. And everybody said, "Well, you guys will never make it. It's the wrong time." But we believed totally in what we were doing, and the makeup and the outfits. It's always been a part of who we are. And at this point, every time we hit the stage, it's a victory lap.
Yeah. You mentioned small crowds, so do you prefer to play in a smaller venue, or do you prefer to play like the Madison Square Gardens?
It's all great. Being fortunate enough to have played for 200,000 people and also 200 people, they both have an undeniable energy that's very different, but it all begins and ends with the band. It's when I'm on stage, last night I find myself just going, what a great band. What a great drummer. Eric is just an amazing drummer. What a great guitar player. What a great bass player. A lot of things get overshadowed in either the press or in how we individually project ourselves, but at the end of the day, we're a rock band in the tradition of all the classic rock bands, and to be around long enough that we're considered classic rock, to me, is an honor. The bands who are my contemporaries and the people who I spend time with and respect. It's incredible that it's one and the same.
Paul Stanley joining me from the band KISS. Freedom to Rock Tour coming to the La Crosse Center on the 6th of August. Also, you guys have a DVD coming out, KISS Rocks Vegas. What can we expect to see on that, Paul?
KISS Rocks Vegas was a unique opportunity for us because we got a chance to do a residency in Vegas, which means that you hunker down and do a bunch of shows. And in our case, we did it in a smaller venue, but because the show didn't have to travel, we could bring in piece by piece things that we couldn't dismantle, and in essence, turn a smaller venue into a stadium show. It was a phenomenal, phenomenal show. Amazing combustibility, amazing connection to the audience, and the band was firing on all cylinders. So it was a really great, great show, and the KISS Rocks Vegas DVD documents it.
So to take an opportunity to maybe take the best of this show and the best of this one and combine it all together, kind of like KISS Alive?
Yeah, it was great because, as I said, it was a huge show, and it would be difficult. It would actually be impossible for us to tour with that show, given our schedule. But to have it in one location was phenomenal, and the show that we're bringing to La Crosse is based on that, and on top of it, again, the band's never been better. The reviews, surprisingly, have been amazing because we're much more concerned with our fans as a rule than the reviews. But everything has been just phenomenal. So the band couldn't be more proud of our heritage, and it's great to have fans coming who've never seen the band before, and not only live up to their expectations, but exceed them. We have a story and a legend that goes decades. So when we hit that stage, it's up to us to either be a shadow of that or be everything that it is and be in our glory, and we are.
Well, my wife's a virgin to go into the shows. She's heard me and my brothers talk about it many times over the last, 25 years of how many, every time we've seen you guys, it's always, this is great. So she's actually going with me this year as my date, so I'm kind of excited for that. We've been married for 26 years, so it's about time she gets a chance to see a good show,
Well, you won't have to make any apologies or excuses because the band is everything and more than it ever has been.
Paul, I read something just the other day when I was doing a little bit of research, finding out I was talking to you. It said that KISS played as a trio twice, and one of those times is because you were sick. Was that the only KISS show that you ever missed?
There were two of them, and let's see, one of them about 3.5 months ago, I popped my bicep tendon and had to have surgery to have a hole drilled in one of my arm bones and have the tendon put through there and then screwed in. So I had to take a rest for a little while, and the band had a commitment to a charity gig to help erase MS, to raise funds. We try to be involved in as much charity work as possible. That's why we're involved so often with the military and with vets. So for this MS event, I couldn't participate, so the band did it without me. And hey, I look at it this way: it only makes them love me more. It only makes the band want me more.
Who did your lyrics then, or who was singing for you when you should have been singing?
they didn't do any of the songs that I sing.
Okay.
So, but nonetheless, I have a strong feeling that it wasn't just the band that missed my presence. So it was great.
Well, I'm sure that everybody that was there probably missed you more than what you think. Hey, you mentioned that you do a lot of stuff with the military. My buddy David Johnson's going to be part of the color guard from the American Legion Post 52 when you guys are here. So that's really cool that you guys bring in people from the military to help out with your shows.
Totally. So many of us forget because we're born free. We seem to believe that freedom is free, and it's not. The people who sacrifice life and limb to make that possible somehow get a raw deal, I believe, and we try to make sure that we draw as much attention and raise funds for the military and for the vets, first responders. These people go overseas voluntarily to protect this country, and I don't believe that they get a fair shake when they come back, and whether it's financial help or emotional support, they deserve it and need it, and we should all be doing more.
Paul Stanley from KISS joining me this on today's Talk 1490 and 100.1 Classic Rock Freedom to Rock tour coming to the La Crosse Center August the 6th. You know, Paul, I know that the band KISS is known for marketing and being marketing geniuses, and I posted on my Facebook, what if you could ask Paul Stanley a question, what would you ask? Well, one of my friends posted, and I had to look this up, asked about your Folgers commercial, to ask if you loved your Folgers commercial as much as he does.
Well, that was a really funny one because I was asked to sing and be in a Folgers commercial, which made me scratch my head to begin with. But quite honestly, I have nothing against coffee, and there's nothing like good coffee. The fact is, we shot this commercial, and the feedback I got was that the corporate heads were very conservative and were concerned about the connection between KISS, although I wasn't wearing makeup, and their company. So the commercial got scrapped, but the voiceover, the singing of the Folgers commercial was heard quite a bit on radio, and it was very funny for me, certainly, because I was in my car one day, and I hear this commercial, and I go, and I'm listening, and my ears suddenly glued to it, and I went, wait a minute, that's me! But I also told them, anytime you want to pay me that amount of money and not use me, I'm available.
Well, when I watched it, the first thing I thought of was Fabian. You could be like you're Fabian before Fabian was Fabian.
Yeah, it was very weird, but hey, there was a very good paycheck for something that I had no issue with, and again, the parent company of Folgers was not in favor of the commercial afterwards. So I was paid very well for what turned out to be very little work.
Hey, that's awesome. I had heard a while back an interview with Gene Simmons saying that KISS could go on forever, just keep plugging different musicians into the parts. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's all in how you say it, and quite honestly, it's things can be said for shock value, and if put in different terms, is a little easier to take in. My point of view is this. KISS is unlike any other band. We don't follow those rules. We don't live within those limitations of other bands. And as we've changed members, it's become very clear that the band stays the same, much like a sports team. Mm-hmm. So to think that the band can't continue without all the original members, look, people who said we couldn't continue without the 4 original guys are already 50% wrong.
Right.
So can the band continue? Yeah, it just takes special people who believe in the same ideas and concepts and play with the same commitment. It's a lot of things and a lot of aspects that will make it possible, but nobody should rule it out. And I'm of the belief, having seen other bands with nowhere near the image or the power that we have, I've seen bands that have continued with different lead singers, and initially you said, oh, that band can't, without their singer, they're not the same band. That's not true. I've seen bands recently where if it sounds like them and it looks like them, it's them. And that's not a bad thing, because those bands are doing something that obviously people want, because people turn out in droves to see them.
Yeah, I saw Foreigner a couple of years ago, and no Foreigner members, original members, were in there. Paul Stanley, my guest. Do you have time for a couple more questions?
Sure.
Excellent. One of the other questions that somebody asked me, to see if I could ask you, is how are you able to keep your private life private? All the other members of KISS have exploited their fame, but you
that's the word. That's the word, exploited. Oh. That doesn't happen by accident. That's a choice.
Right.
And I don't want my private life exploited, and I don't want it in the tabloids, and I don't want to be on TV shows, reality or otherwise. It's just it's not appealing to me, and And my point of view is that you either have reality or you have television, but there's no such thing as reality television. And if you're busy making television, you're not really living life. That's just my point of view, and I don't want to involve my family in things that take them away from a rich life in terms of intimacy and experience. So it's my family's not exploited because, and that may be the wrong word. I probably take issue with the word because nobody wants to exploit their family.
That's true.
But I would say that if your family is in the press, it's because you choose to put them in the press, and that's just a point of view, and to each his own.
What do you do on your spare time?
I spend time with my family, my friends. I've got 4 amazing kids, an amazing wife, and great friends, and that's really the core of everything. It's pretty hollow without that. When you see actors or musicians that are constantly working, it's usually because they don't have anything else to go to. Mm-hmm. And if your fix, so to speak, is getting on stage, you're going to spend a whole lot of time on stage.
And you might as well enjoy life when you can. Rock and Brews, can you tell me about that, Paul?
Rock and Brews is phenomenal in that it's much more than a restaurant. It really is a lifestyle. It's a restaurant that's taken off like wildfire. We have 20 now, and they're amazingly successful. The theme certainly is the decor is somewhat the classic rock in terms of paying tribute to all the music that we all love, but in no way, shape, or form is it like a funeral parlor with dead people's clothing hanging on the wall. Mm-hmm. It's great food in an indoor-outdoor atmosphere where you can bring your kids during the day, you can bring your pets. There's between 80 and 100 craft beers, amazing food, and a staff that you just want to hang with. So nobody goes to Rock and Brews once.
Right.
It's a terrific place, and as I said, they're just moving like wildfire.
That's fantastic. Freedom to Rock, coming to the La Crosse Center on August the 6th. And then finally, last question I have for you. Looking back, if you had to do it all over again, would you guys have taken off the makeup, or would you have kept it on the entire career?
Everything we did was for the right reason, and taking off the makeup was a necessary move to kind of get ourselves back on track. It wasn't really going off track. It was a way to kind of steer ourselves away from where we were going and make a complete break with that image and trial by fire. See who we were, what we were, and then when we went back to the makeup, it was for good, forever. And I'm a big believer everything we do leads to the next thing, so there are no mistakes.
Who came up with your design?
I did. I've always felt very connected to stars and the idea of being a star, and it's no secret, I'm not a ham, I'm the whole pig. I love I love being on stage. I love the attention. I love all the rewards of it. So my makeup, my design.
That is so awesome. Paul Stanley, I appreciate you spending some time with me. Freedom to Rock Tour coming to the La Crosse Center on August the 6th. How can we find out more information about the band KISS?
You can go to KISS Online, which is always the best, really the best website because it's ours. And we really maintain total control of it. And it's almost like reading the newspaper because every day there's something new on it. It's not old, stale news. It's up to the minute.